This video provides a brief overview of the board holism principle of policy governance. If you refer to the policy governance source document, you'll see that the board holism principle is number 3. So we've already talked about boards being accountable to a group of people called owners. This board holism principle addresses the fact that boards fulfill their owner accountability function as a group. So here's the text of the actual principle from the policy governance source document, and I will just underline the board makes authoritative decisions directed toward management and towards itself, its individual members and committees only as a total group. In other words, board authority is group authority, and that direction is expressed with one voice. As a board member, you do not hold individual power or act as part of a group of managers, with each person having their own individual directing power. Instead, a board has to make decisions and use its directing authority as a whole group. This seems like a common sense principle, yet many boards actually forget or ignore this one in practice. Boards will often create committees, for example, that start to delegate or instruct the CEO and/or staff members. Doing so inevitably leads to one or a few board members going around the accountability link we've established between the board and operations. You might recall the board position principle number 2 in the policy governance source document. Boards can certainly create committees if needed to help the board do its own job, but not to help or supervise or in any way interfere with what's already been delegated to the CEO and staff by the board as a whole. To ensure clarity of delegation when it comes to board committees, we recommend that each board committee be established by a governance process policy outlining the purpose or product of the committee, what authority it has in terms of a budget or use of staff time or resources, who is on the committee and ideally who chairs it, and how long it is constituted for, whether that be for a certain amount of time or until the purpose or product is achieved. This principle also means that, say, in a nonprofit organization, if a board member wants to serve on a staff level committee or in a staff capacity, that's totally fine as long as the board member is doing so as a volunteer staff member where the accountability is to the CEO and not with any authority by virtue of the fact that they are a board member. Everyone, including staff, need to understand that individual board members do not have board authority as individuals, unless they've been specifically given that authority by the board as a whole. Another implication of this principle is that boards should really ensure that the decisions they make actually do benefit from the wisdom of the group, and that all of the diversity of opinion around the board table gets expressed before the decision is made. Policy governance doesn't get into decision-making models or facilitation tips, but as a consultant, I encourage boards to get creative about how they make good decisions in the first place. This board holism principle is also referred to as the one voice principle. And so I just want to emphasize that the one voice pertains only to direction and delegation, not to how decisions are made or to the board's outward-facing communications strategy. So, in practice, after the board has debated and passed a motion, that direction is communicated with one voice to the CEO or appropriate delegatee, thereby avoiding a situation in which individual board members or a board committee give multiple different directions to the CEO or staff. Multiple directions confuse and frustrate people and slow things down. This principle does not apply to how the board chooses to communicate to the public. In most cases, boards do want to have a unified message, or they'll appoint one person, usually the chair, to speak on behalf of the board. Boards could just as well choose to enable individual board members to express their opinions publicly as they wish. As long as no one's trying to somehow sabotage board decisions, giving directors this freedom of expression does not conflict in any way with the one voice principle. So there you have it, a quick explanation of the board holism principle of policy governance. For more information on this and any other aspects of policy governance, please visit my website at browndogconsulting.com or give me a call at 1-877-847-4552.